Good afternoon, each and every one of you, from all of us here at the Foundation. And the purpose of this conversation is speaking about school refusal, or in these days it's called school difficulty. But of course, that school refusal is a well-known term, and the impact of this on our young people. Because what's been happening is that before the pandemic, we had a large proportion of our young people just disappearing. And just to let you know a little bit about my background, I was a school teacher for about 20 years. I was a science teacher in some of the most difficult or challenging inner city schools in London. And what I noticed as a teacher is that some students would just disappear, and we just didn't know what was happening. And and for me, it saddened me, because these students that I was teaching, they were intelligent and they were a contribution to society, and very, very quiet. And since then, I've learned, since being and working in youth mental health for the past 15 years, that a lot of the school refusers, or the young people that are not going into schools, are those that are suffering from social anxiety or anxiety. So a little bit just what happened in the pandemic is that during the pandemic, we found that our children, they really wanted to go back into school, but the ones that were suffering from mental health difficulties, notably anxiety, these students, they loved the lockdown because it meant that they could stay at home, do their online classes, and this was something really great. And now the problem has been, since the pandemic, getting all of our children back into the schools. This has been the problem. So at the moment, just to get the statistics or the sciencey bit, that each student, really, their attendance needs to be 95%, which means that they would have 9.5 days off each year, which might look something like 3 days off for each of the terms, the autumn term, the spring term, and the summer term. And it then starts becoming a problem when a young person has 16 days or more off a year. So this might look like a week off for some reason in each of those 3 terms, which isn't really working. Now we have young people that are finding it difficult to go into schools. It's about 700 to 7 well, almost a million, but we're talking about 700,000 or nearly 800,000 young people. And out of the 11 million that we have going into schools, that would bring us to about 1% of young people not going into schools because of this problem, which might be what that looked like in a classroom with 30 young people, is that 3 young people might not be there due to what they're dealing with and what they're suffering with in their mental health. So how can we change that? Because what we have our young people that are suffering from anxiety. They're very quiet, and in my experience as a teacher, it's the ones that are a bit more rambunctious, the ones that are a bit more noisy, or even to be crass, the ones that are throwing chairs and tables around. These are the young people that are getting the attention, which leaves our quiet ones unnoticed. And these are the quiet ones that slip out of the school system. These are the ones that could be the contribution. Because if we don't get them in school time and make the difference there and support them in managing their anxiety, then they're almost going to be lost in society. Like where can they be permitted to contribute? So here at Julian Campbell Foundation, we work with a lot of young people with stress, anxiety, and depression. And what we've noticed is that our mood mentors, so it's kind of like a befriending service. We go into schools and we support children. And our mood mentors are trained up. They're trained up in skills of listening and speaking. being in the young person's world. Also as well, they're trained up to be able to listen for and show the young person how to manage their mental health. They're not academic mentors, they're mental health mentors. So they help a young person identify their mood, if it's low mood, and they show them strategies to change their mood. Because a lot of young people think that, you know, if they've got generalized anxiety, they're high energy, low mood, and they're like that, it's a fixed thing and there's nothing they can do. That is incorrect, and there's a lot that they can be doing, and our mentors show our young people how to manage their moods and how to be in charge. And usually 12 weeks is enough. Don't need any more time than that to show a young person how to manage their mood, therefore giving them the tools that they need, allowing them to manage their mental health and well-being for the rest of their lives. So we've noticed that working with some young people that are not going into schools, we've noticed that they start going into schools. Now, they don't start going in as like 95 to 100% immediately. It is a slow process because our mood mentors can work with them in their own homes or online, and then in time bring them back into school and start working with them. So the purpose of this conversation really is speaking more about young people with school attendance difficulties, or when I was a school teacher, it's called school refusal. And I think this is a more commonly known term. And what can we do now? Because it is, you know, I've given you the figures. It looks like we could have up to 3 people in one classroom that are not in the classroom because they're at home and they are confronted and they're suffering from anxiety, and that doesn't allow them to go into the school. So we've been speaking about that. If you want to know more information about our mood mentors, please do contact me. We're also looking to do a formal study on the impact of mood mentors on school refusers. And for that reason, we are looking for volunteers. So if you're, for example, trained up as a psychologist or doing a psychology degree, or you have a love for children and you really want to contribute, please do message us or inbox us, because we're going to be working with a group of young people, school refusers, so we can have some formally recognized research to show the impact of our services on young people and their attendance. So thank you for watching this video. If there's any comments, please do inbox me, and I will speak with you again in next week's video. I will be showing a video every Friday, and if you've got any ideas or anything that you'd like to hear us speak about around mental health, youth mental health, please do let me know, and we can put that in our list of things to do in the future. Wishing you a delicious weekend, and see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.